5:30, the Norfolk Public School District's Board of Education meeting is called to order. Roll call.
Terry Bauer is out of town and asked to be excused. Cindy Booth.
Present.
Brenda Carhart is also out of town on family vacation and asked to be excused. Dr. Patty Goobles.
Here.
Steve McNally.
Present.
Tom Stanton.
Here.
We do have 4 members present, so we do have a quorum.
I'll make a motion to excuse board member Terry Bauer.
I'll second that.
Please vote.
Okay, we'll do roll call. Cindy Booth.
Present.
Dr. Patty Goobles.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Steve McNally
Yes.
and Tom Stanton.
Yes.
We have 4 yeses. Motion carries.
I'll make a motion to excuse the absence of Brenda Carhart.
I'll second.
Roll call vote.
Motion carried 4-0.
This is a legal meeting of the Board of Education as advertised by the means specified in board policy. A complete copy of the Open Meetings Act is posted in the boardroom for your review, and a copy of the agenda is available at the desk of the recording secretary. Please stand and join us for Pledge of Allegiance. Parental involvement hearing, Dr. Thompson.
Thank you. Nebraska State Statute 79-533 requires that school boards review their parental involvement policies and hold a public hearing regarding these policies annually. The Norfolk Public Schools Board Policy 6400 contains all requirements of the statute, including how the school district will provide access to parents concerning textbooks, tests, and other curriculum materials used in the school district, how the school district will handle requests by parents to attend and monitor courses, assemblies, counseling sessions, and other instructional activities, under what circumstances parents may ask that their children be excused from testing, classroom instruction, and other school experiences that the parents may find objectionable, how the school district will provide access to records of students, what the school district's testing policy will be, and how the school district participates in surveys of students, and the rights of parents to remove their children from such surveys. And we do have a revised policy on the agenda to update that to the new statute language as well. Changes may be necessary to a result as this policy of this legislation, and that is the case, and I just described that, so. At this point, I will open this hearing for public input regarding our parent involvement policy. There will be a separate public comment section later in the meeting for audience members who wish to comment on other topics.
Is there anyone that wishes to speak?
Good afternoon. Jan Haverman, 204 East Phillip, here in Norfolk, Nebraska. I come before you today to ask that since this is a public hearing, there must be something important to discuss here, and I'm seeming that maybe I'm the only one that's going to say anything. Personally, I have not had any time. I just found out about this hearing on, I think, Saturday, Friday, when I took some time to look at the minutes, or the agenda. I did take some time to look at it a little bit. It's long, and I was like, ding, ding, I don't know what this is all saying. It needs some, I need to have time to look at it. I do agree it is very important that parents have rights to have their voices heard concerning their students. So I am going to ask that this be tabled and that it have people the time to look through it and get more information and see what this policy says. I had another thought. It just flew out of my mind. So I guess I won't say it. All right, so I do ask that you would table it so that I personally, and I'm hoping other parents have time to look at it. It's summertime. It's not a real good time to be, you're not even thinking about school stuff now. We're talking about gardening and vacationing and camping and all this other stuff. We don't think about school boards and what parents are looking at the policies. And I get it. Policies are not something we go, yay, I can study a policy. We all kind of go, a policy. And it's hard work. So I thank you for all the effort and the things that you've done as a committee to look at this. I'm sorry, but I would like to have more time to study this myself and hopefully get more parents involved. Thank you.
May I comment? I just want to note that the parent involvement hearing was advertised in the Norfolk Daily News, and also note that we have a parent involvement hearing every summer. So this is an annual review, and it will be reviewed again next summer.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak?
Thank you. Peggy Hoffman, Norfolk, Nebraska. I was just looking at state statutes, chapter 43 in the state statutes for juveniles, and there's a lot there to study, but I see a lot of responsibilities for parents in this state until their children are the age of 19. So I think, like the previous speaker, it may be a good idea for us to make sure that if parents have those responsibilities, they also have the rights that go with the responsibilities. So I'm not sure what your policy change is going to be, but I think we need to be respectful of our Constitution as well. Thank you. I'll get this filled out.
Thank you. Any other speakers?
If there are no other speakers, then that concludes our public hearing. Thank you very much.
Presentations, 5.1 building visits.
May is always a time of celebration and transition for students, for staff, for school districts in general. And certainly for Norfolk Public Schools, that was the case again this year. I always feel honored to attend and to celebrate and support students who are being celebrated, who are in transition, who have accomplished important things. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about each one of these events, but I do want to mention those that I attended. The first one was the induction of students, Norfolk High students, into National Honor Society. It was really refreshing to see the leadership exhibited by the current students who are part of National Honor Society as they held the induction ceremony. I was also really thrilled to see the number of students who became part of National Honor Society, because to be part of that, they have to exhibit scholarship, service, leadership, and character. So it's really great to see so many of our students who have met those qualifications. Then I attended the completion ceremony, which is for students who are aging out of our system as students with special needs. And that event always just warms my heart, because when you look at the smiles on the faces of those students, to see what a sense of accomplishment they have, that as much as possible they have attained important life skills and also work skills. So that's always just a really fun celebration to be part of. And then finally attended graduation. And I truly feel honored anytime I attend graduation and I have the opportunity to personally congratulate and hand diplomas to at least some of our Norfolk Public School graduates. And it also is even more special when I have parents of people who are graduating say to me, "Oh, Patty, I'm so glad that you got to hand my child the diploma." You know, people that I know, that I've known in the community for a long time. So May is just a really special time. It's special even for kids who are moving from one grade level to another grade level. It certainly is special for those students who have graduated and who now are really at a new beginning, you know, a transition to who they will become as adults.
I also attended the National Honor Society induction, the completion ceremony, and graduation. And I agree with everything you just said about that. It was an awesome experience. I had never been to the completion ceremony before, and that was just very awesome to see how excited those students were. So that was very cool. So far, by far, that's been my favorite kind of graduation completion ceremony. I also got to go to Bel Air for the senior memory walk. It was the first time I had seen the new addition to Bel Air, so that was really nice to see how they're utilizing that space. Also, what I thought was really awesome is how many former teachers came back for that event and saw their students, their seniors. A lot of emotions there, so that was really cool to see.
I attended the National Honor Society induction as well as the graduation. And I just wanted to comment on the graduation that it was very impressive to have the speakers speak. And I thought they did such an amazing job of giving their commencement speeches that they gave. And also impressive when they read their activities that they did and how many things they were in and what well-rounded individuals those young students were. So that was very enjoyable.
All right, 5.2, strategic planning presentations, safety and staff recruitment and retention. Chuck Hughes and Angie Bauman.
I'll go ahead and start with safety. So as you think about our strategic action plan, it was actually started when Mr. Wilson was the director, and I have picked up and continued where he kind of left off. Our strategic action plan for safety was enhancing comprehensive safety plans and procedures, both physically and technologically. Our team members, we had lots of different people on there. We had principals, we had teachers, a lot of us double as parents. We had both of our SROs, a representative from the Madison County Juvenile Accountability System, Northeast Community College, including one of their technology directors. So it gave us a good wide range of people to help us accomplish this goal. Kind of the process that Mr. Wilson led the team through at the very beginning was they went through all of our building safety audits. Every single year we have an entity come and provide safety audits of each building. It has been Norfolk Police. So we're looking at how we can expand that a little bit and get different eyes on our buildings. We presented the current realities. We looked at our strengths. We looked at maybe where we had some opportunities to grow, looked over all those ideas, and then we voted for the top 5 or 6. And then once we had those in place, that's where our action plans and our goals kind of came about. So here are the 5 that we really focused on. The first was internal locks, which was, we know that no school shooting has ever happened behind locked and closed doors in a classroom. So we felt that that's very important. We wanted to make sure that all of our classroom doors are able to be shut and locked. So we looked at either flip switches or push button locks. The second one we looked at, as we knew, the middle school entrance. Technically was safe and secure, but it could have been a lot better. So we went to work on that one. All of our exterior doors were one of the few districts around, as far as the bigger districts go, that we're using physical keys. So we've put access control points into all of our buildings, and then just building a culture of safety. We all knew what safety was. We know what it is, but we wanted to develop what a Norfolk Public Schools culture looks like. And so we really hammer that in all of our meetings. And then cyber safety. We had failed phishing tests going on across the district, and then just more technology training. So the first goal that we looked at was our internal locks and our classroom doors, and that is complete. Every single classroom door across the district. They do have either switch locks or push locks, so we're good there. The second one is the middle school safe and secure entrance. That is near completion. You know, when you drive past that every day, you can see just how far it's come in a short amount of time. That door area, the vestibule area, is just about ready to go. They're working on the concrete for the parking lot in the front right now. So we can say that it's still in progress, but it'll be ready to go here at some point next school year. The hardening of the exterior doors. Every single door we finally got where we wanted our access control points at. All of those are finally in. The last one was completed in May. That doesn't mean that every exterior door has a card reading system. Most of our buildings have 2 to 4 access control points, and those are strategically placed by our parking lots and staff parking lots. So our staff doesn't have to walk clear around the building to get in. It is nice. We all have these. It can get us into whatever building we need as long as we have access to it. The nice thing with that is our technology department, we can control access. So I just had a principal call me today. Hey, I have summer school at Westside. Do you think you can get me access to that building? You bet. So we set her up with access control so she can get in for the rest of the summer, and then we can take that away so she is back to her own building. Physical keys are being taken away from our staff members. That's why this says near completion. That's the last step. So otherwise, we have that completed. Our culture of safety that we talked about, this is anytime we have a safety meeting, we make sure that we check in with our building principals to see how we're doing. You can see some of the goals that we have in there. are part of our culture of safety. But some of that we want to look at is our exterior cameras. We want to make sure that we have those up at all times in our buildings. So if one of our secretaries notices there's something going on outside the building, we can initiate our SRP if need be. We want to make sure that all of our interior doors are locked. You know, that's something that as a teacher, sometimes you just get busy with the day and you forget to close your classroom door, but that has become an expectation for us. We're pretty good at that. We could be better, but that always comes out in our safety audit. We did put phones in all of our classrooms so that anybody at any time could initiate our SRP. We have emergency binders that have, anytime a sub is in the building, there's a red binder that should have all of the class lists, seating charts, all of our SRP controls, and so that they are ready to go in case of emergency. We want to make sure that in our bigger buildings, hallway supervision, our teachers are doing that every single period. And then another one, it's easy when you're in a classroom to think these are my students, but we are trying to get to these are our students. Like I said, you can focus on the 30 that you have or the 100 that you have, but really it's a building-wide initiative. So that's our culture of safety that we go through. The next one is our cyber safety. We are good on just about all of these. The only thing that we're missing is the phishing test. As we were looking at them, some of those, when you start to look at third party, they get very, very, very expensive. So our technology team and myself, we are trying to develop our own, and then that'll be pushed out here in the fall. But otherwise, you can see our air gaps have been installed. We do lots of user training. We've put out lots of technology advice for our staff. Passwords, it used to be you could create whatever you wanted for a password. We have now made that longer and stronger for everybody. And then obviously multi-factor identification, which is becoming pretty standard no matter where you're at anymore. So those are our safety goals. Do you have any questions for me? Thank you.
Thank you. I just said I'm going to have to go quickly to beat that. He did really well, but I'm going to try. Okay, so the goal that I have been overseeing for our strategic action planning is that by 2026, NPS will implement a plan of retention and recruitment for all staff. These are the staff members that originally were on our team. A few of those are no longer working for NPS, but we have picked up some others along the way. The first objective was community involvement, knowledge, and engagement. And our team really felt that this would be a way to help retain the current staff that we have. Things that were included in this, the steps. Step one was to provide information and access to educators for community events. And step two was creating a business and education engagement committee. Things we've done on this so far, we have in our staff newsletter, we have linked the Visitors Bureau, and I will at times send out activities in the community going on for staff to get involved, especially trying to connect with our newer staff that aren't from the area. Oh no, what'd I do? Sorry about that. I'll click over here. There we go. We had a new teacher welcome the last 2 years where we have worked with Angie Stinger. She has worked with businesses that have donated prizes for new teachers. We have a new teacher welcome that's held at the Chamber building. They provide food and drinks. Angie puts on a great activity about getting to know the community. There's prizes, and the new teachers have really appreciated being able to participate in that. So Angie and I will be working to have that put together again for our new teachers this year. The Chamber of Commerce had a teacher appreciation booth at Oktoberfest this year, so another way just to try and show appreciation for teachers. Tech Tango is a way that the community is trying to get teachers involved with businesses, and that is hosted by the Nebraska Tech Collaborative and Growing Together Northeast Nebraska Group. So some of our staff that work in business technology and STEM go have an evening and work with some of our business providers in the community. And that's not just a Norfolk Public School thing, that's many surrounding school districts. So it's nice for our staff to be able to network there as well. There have been some, another way to pull businesses together with our teachers. We have had some businesses donate gift cards to teachers at the beginning of the school year and just try and show their support as well. The second objective is in culture and retention, so improving staff morale and retention, so helping our staff feel valued and have a voice. The steps in there, in this one, we're talking about the appreciation of teachers and working with our health and wellness committee just to help build teacher morale, positive building culture, and have some activities for staff. The second step was creating a PD task force. And the third one was administering a loss of plan time survey. We did have some staff talking about not having plan time all the time or equally to other teachers. So the things in that area that have been addressed, our Health and Wellness Committee has done a fantastic job of putting together activities for all staff. I just have linked some examples up here. We have healthy lifestyle challenges. This was one we did around Thanksgiving, again, and it's not always exercise. It's things like eating and water and sleep and mental health, all of those things to help staff feel good. This is another one that works through our Educators Health Alliance that staff can participate in. In the winter, they offered dance classes. We had pickleball nights that you could participate in. We had an ice skating for staff night that staff and families could participate in when the ice skating rink opened. So just trying to get staff involved and ways to help build culture with our own people. I did meet with social committees in May. So every building has their own social committee, and they were looking for ideas on things to help build a positive culture in their buildings. So I got together at least one representative from each building. They brainstormed ideas on what each building is doing for fun activities for staff and how they're trying to include all staff members and help them feel welcome when they're new and keep them engaged when they are on staff. The PD task force met quarterly throughout the school year, and on April 25th we had a PD day, and that was our first PD day that was designed by the task force. So our teachers had choice boards. This is the elementary one. And there were choice boards for each level, but they had some time through the day that we expected them to work on professional development, but they were able to choose what they needed, what they wanted, what was a fit for their curricular area or their building. So each teacher had some selection in that, and we received some very positive feedback on that. The day that was utilized ended up being a track day because of a weather change and district music, so our secondary teachers didn't get to participate as much. So moving forward, hopefully they'll have that opportunity as well, because we have heard from staff they want to have some voice in the professional development that they participate in. And the loss of plan time survey that was done right away when this goal was created. So that was given, and we analyzed all the results and worked with staff on that. But again, that was 2 years ago, but still part of this goal. And the third objective was in recruitment. So always looking at ways to expand our recruitment efforts to bring teachers and our classified staff as well to Norfolk Public Schools. So with this one, there were 3 steps. One was specifically addressing student teachers, one was specific to LinkedIn, and one was working with colleges. So with student teachers, this is just one example of a day that we held. We host some Growing Together Wayne State College students that have access to scholarship money, free housing, our student teacher incentives, all, and the previous part, the scholarship and the free housing, is part of the Growing Together initiative, where there are interns in Norfolk in a variety of different businesses that are able to access that through the Exarban Foundation. So that has been great for getting students some of the financial help they need, but also bringing young adults into our area as well. The working with colleges, one of the things that we've been working on just statewide is with licensing. There's been some changes happening with teaching certificates that have made things smoother for us. Alternative certification, when I first started in this role, that was pretty rare, but it's becoming more and more frequent that we're looking at alternative certification and getting teachers into our classrooms that want to be teachers, but maybe haven't followed a traditional pathway of teacher education that our others have done. Student teachers can be on teaching contracts in the right situation with the right colleges. We have paras that are able to get certified now. We're utilizing some para to teacher pathways, which has been great. We have some teachers that are teaching out of their endorsed areas with some new options there, with some testing that can happen and certification through NDE. And obviously, we're always trying to advertise as much as we can to attract people to Norfolk Public Schools. One of the things we had used as part of this goal was LinkedIn. If you've been on the board, you've heard this piece already, but we were able to find a Spanish teacher. It was a successful hire, but for the cost of what we were paying for LinkedIn, we decided not to continue with that. So that was a way that we tried to conserve some budget. So we did attempt that, but decided not to continue on. And then college events. My partner in crime, Mrs. Lure, won't be with me in the fall, so I have to recruit, some new people. But these are all the job fairs that we go to. We talk to college students. I try and get on college panels to talk to students, do mock interviews at colleges. So as often as I can, I'm trying to get Norfolk Public Schools out in front of our college students. Okay, so of those areas, what still needs to be done on this goal? On the first objective, we haven't created a true business and education engagement committee. Angie Stinger and I have worked together and met together, and we'll be meeting quarterly coming up this school year again. But that's still an area that we need to try and figure out what we want that to look like. Our ultimate goal with that was trying to retain staff. So we need to sit down and still work on that piece. Objective 2 is fully completed, and then the only thing left on Objective 3 was to plan a student-teacher tour day. So we want to take all of our student teachers, go tour several of our buildings, especially those that we know will have upcoming openings, so that they might express an interest if they might not otherwise have. So one of the issues we've run into there is, our spring student teachers, some of them are already hired before they start student teaching with us in January. So we'll have to do this right away at the beginning of the year to try and get those that haven't already been offered positions. Any questions on that goal?
What's been the participation for some of your events, like the skating and stuff? Is it always the same group of teachers, or you're getting a wide variety of participants at different events? Yeah.
Gosh, I wish I could answer that. I didn't go skating because my daughter had a basketball game, but I know that when we have our, the healthy lifestyle challenges, we get quite a few staff involved. Is it the same? I'm not sure if it's always the same people. Those we do on teams, so sometimes it's building teams or grade level teams, and then there's some prizes. So, I would guess on those it's probably a lot of the same people. How about dance class, Mr. Wilson? You knew I was going to put that out there.
It was a good time. We had a good turnout there. And saw some staff members that I don't get to see a lot, you know, so different representatives from different buildings, but yeah, it was fun.
And I think we're seeing a variety of experience level and age level involved in these. It's not just all our veteran teachers or all our brand new teachers. I think we're getting a good mix, which is what we want. Yeah.
And pickleball, I think we've had the most is about 30, but most weeks it's in your 15 to 20 range, and it's a wide variety from all different buildings.
Thank you, Mr. Hughes and Mrs. Bauman. This is the time during the meeting when public may request to address the board. According to state law, if you wish to comment, you must identify yourself, including your address, the name of the organization you represent, and the topic you wish to address. Public comment cards are located at the media table in the back of the room. Please pick up a card and provide the required information if you plan to speak. Each individual's comments will be limited to 5 minutes. Please note that the board cannot discuss or act upon matters that are not listed on the agenda. Therefore, board members will not respond to your comments or questions. If you wish to request that an item be placed on a future board agenda, you may contact the superintendent or her assistant during normal business hours. Also note that concerns related to school personnel need to be addressed to the superintendent using the approved district protocol. Individuals who make false, defamatory, or slanderous statements during public comments may be held legally liable. Slanderous comments are not protected just because they are made at board meetings. Additional procedural guidelines are available at the media table. Is there anyone that would like to speak? All right, information and discussion items. 7.1, Finance and Facilities Report. Mr. Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. President. The total amount of claims to be approved on the consent agenda by specific fund are listed below. General Fund, $292,281.77. Nutrition Fund, $760.99. Cooperative Fund, $525.22. Subsidiary Fund, $32,171.72. Depreciation Fund, $228,295.83. Special Building Fund, $5,089.02. Senior High Activity Fund, $36,131.88. Junior High Activity Fund, $912.33. Student Fee Fund, $1,148. All of these claims were reviewed earlier today by the Finance and Facilities Committee.
Thank you. 7.2, Teaching and Learning Report. Mr. Oswald.
Thank you. As we begin the summer months, my office is working on a few tasks. First, we spend time reviewing state assessment information to ensure everything is accurate. I completed the first round of this data review during the last week of May. I will continue this process throughout the summer in accordance with the NDE's deadlines. Second, we are working with the maintenance department to get all new curriculum resources to the buildings for next school year. Our executive assistant, Stephanie Chandler, does a great job with this task. Third, some groups of teachers have requested time this summer to work on curriculum and assessments. Our instructional coaches schedule this time and work with these groups throughout the summer. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Oswald. 7.3, Student Programs Report. Mrs. Lure.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Summer school is being held June 2nd through June 20th. The following schools will host our special education classes: Beller Elementary K4 live students and Lincoln Montessori K4. On a personal note, I'd like to share in my goodbye that education is an honorable profession of passion. Passion for student success, passion for content, passion for learning, and the passion to make a difference. I am thankful for my time in education. I've always loved my career and the opportunities it provided to grow as a person. Norfolk Public Schools has been good to me and my family. Both our kids graduated and went on to be successful college and now in their professional careers. Jake and I were allowed opportunities to grow professionally as employees of this district. Norfolk Public Schools will always hold a special place in our hearts. Thank you for the opportunities and memories, Norfolk Public Schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you for all your years of service and dedication to the students of this district. You're definitely going to be missed. 7.4, Student Services Report, Mr. Hughes.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. As Mary stated, summer school has started at all levels across the district. The state legislature has concluded, which means revisions to student handbooks are being made. You will see them on the agenda for next month. And then our pre-kindergarten through fourth grade admin team, along with some selected staff members, will meet with the Nebraska MTSS and PBIS team on June 12th to review Tier 2 interventions and learn more about implementing Tier 3 interventions for our students. And then our middle school, junior high, and high school admin team, along with selected staff members, will meet with the same Nebraska MTSS PBIS team to cover identical topics. This is all part of the State Personnel Development Grant, or what we know as SPDIG funds.
Thank you, Mr. Hughes. 7.5, Human Resources and Accreditation Report, Mrs. Baumann.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Currently, we are looking to hire a variety of classified staff for the 2025-2026 school year, including paraprofessionals in the classroom, special education, ELL, the Achievement Center, and media. In addition, we are seeking applications for a secretary, campus security, and custodians. The Spanish interpreter position was filled since I wrote my rationale. There are positions available at all levels, PK-12. Candidates can apply for those positions on our website. NPS is also hosting a job fair in this room here at Central Office on June 19th from 4 to 6 p.m. Interested candidates can come talk to building principals about their open positions and apply on-site or online. Those positions are currently posted on our website, and I encourage all of you to help spread the word about the NPS openings.
Thank you, Mrs. Baumann. 7.6, Superintendent Report, Dr. Thompson.
Thank you. I have some exit survey results to go over with you. Very good. Looking at our survey results, you see that the main reason that best describes why certified staff members left the district in the 24-25 school year were retirement and other, with 33% leaving for both of those reasons. However, in the other category, there were 2 of those people who marked retirement and 3 who marked spousal relocation. So that's 5 that could have been listed up above, actually. So that brings that down to 6 out of the 33, which would have been just 18%. So we had 11 people that left due to retirement, 2 for career advancement, 3 due to workplace climate, 5, if you add in the other 3, for spousal relocation, 4 due to dissatisfaction with current location, and then 11 due to other reasons. And the other reasons were 1 to homeschool their child, 1 to raise their kids, 1 for more competitive sports, 1 for a combination of personal and professional reasons, 1 because they were changing fields, and 1 because they were a business owner. Okay. Looking at the next slide, the question was, to what degree did the following school-specific factors, so building level factors, contribute to your decision? And there's a lot of information on this page. But what you will see is that lack of confidence or trust with school leadership and dissatisfaction with school leadership were the biggest school factors identified this school year. That is new for us, and normally that would concern me, but I don't think that it is overly surprising given how many administrators we placed in new positions this year, because it does take time to build up trust and satisfaction with your new school team. I would recommend monitoring that closely over the next year or two, and I would expect it to improve. And I think our central office team will be watching that and helping the team in that regard as well. The next slide is, to what degree did the following district-wide factors contribute to your decision? No surprises there. Poor benefits was by far the largest factor identified at the district level, and that was followed by pay and benefits combined. That has been very consistent with our past results for the last several years. And the next page, to what extent did the following personal factors contribute to your decision? Again, no real surprises. Poor balance between work and personal life was by far the biggest personal factor identified. And that has been consistent with past results, although we have seen a lot more spousal relocation in the last couple of years as well. So key takeaways that I saw was that we need to monitor the progress of our administrators that we have placed in new positions and be sure that we're providing them support in developing relationships with their staff and developing that trust. We need to continue to work on improving our benefit package to the best of our ability, which we have been making strides on. We're working hard on that. We need to continue to monitor the work-life balance of staff, I think particularly in areas where we are short-staffed. I think that can be an issue. And then this did not necessarily come from the survey, but I did want to note that we had a very high turnover rate in our special education department this year. We need to continue to look for additional ways to support our staff working within that department. And I think, looking at some of the background information, some of the dissatisfaction with work climate, that had to do with those special education positions, which we are working to improve, but that's hard to do when we don't have the staff available. Are there any questions that Angie or I could answer?
Will we get a copy of that exit report, actual, written copy or?
Of what you just displayed? Yeah, yes.
So is this a exit interview or a survey that exiting employees are just asked to complete?
It's a survey, and it is, names are optional, so it can be anonymous. We had about half of the exiting staff choose to put their names on it and half not, so it's up to
Do we
them.
do any follow-up with people about things they report?
Well, if they have their name on there and there's something specific that we want more information on, we'll follow up, but I don't do an exit interview with every staff member.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
If there are no other questions, I did want to say that I too will be exiting the district this school year. After 12 incredibly rewarding years serving as superintendent of Norfolk Public Schools, I would like to express my deepest gratitude to the students, staff, families, and community members who have made this journey so meaningful. It has been an honor to work alongside such a dedicated and passionate team, and I am immensely proud of all that we have accomplished together. From the strong foundation laid in our early childhood programs at Little Panthers Preschool to the exceptional college and career readiness programs at Norfolk Senior High, we have worked with purpose to expand access, raise expectations, and provide meaningful pathways for every student. At every level, we have prioritized creating a school environment where every child feels safe, welcome, supported, and inspired to succeed. As I prepare to take on a new chapter in Rapid City, I do so with both excitement and a full heart. Norfolk Public Schools will always hold a special place in my life and my career because I know that we truly lived our motto, nothing prevents success. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of this incredible journey.
Well, you both stole my thunder, so I won't give the big speech I was going to, but thank you, Dr. Thompson, for everything you've done for the district. The things that you have seen our students through over your tenure are very impressive, and I personally wish you great success in Rapid City. We will miss you and wish you best of luck.
Thank you.
Being new to the board, I've only had the pleasure of working with you for 6 months, but it's been wonderful, and I too wish you the best of luck in your new position.
Moving on to committee reports. 8.1, Facilities and Finance Committee Report. I guess that's me. The Facility and Finance Committee met earlier today. Board members Steve McNally and myself were in attendance. The committee reviewed claims, financial reports, and ongoing construction projects. They also discussed matters related to the transition of the new superintendent. Additional topics included the 25-26 budget and proceeds from the district garage sale. No questions. 8.2, Policy Committee Report. The Policy Committee met on Thursday, June 5th, 2025. Board committee members present include myself, Dr. Patty Goebbels, and Cindy Booth. NPS staff present included Eric Wilson, Dr. Jamie Jo Thompson, Chuck Hughes, and Kellen Collins. The committee reviewed the 6 policies that must be reviewed annually according to state statutes. No changes were recommended to the policies 5008 related to attendance, 5415 related to anti-bullying, 5417 related to school wellness, or 6370 related to multicultural education. Changes were recommended to policy 5101 related to student discipline and 6400 related to parental involvement. Those policies will be discussed in the next section. We received a large section of policy updates from our attorneys based on the recent legislative session and other federal law changes. Policy 1200, anti-harassment policy, was revised. We basically added the term military as a protected class. Policy 3131, procurement plan, was revised to include minor language changes due to changes in federal regulations governing grants and federal audit requirements. Policy 3410, safe driving record policy, was revised. It clarified that Rule 91 requires physical exam for drivers of small vehicles when driving routes, but not when driving for activities. And then it also added the length of satisfactory driving record was also adjusted to 7 years per our attorney's recommendation. Policy 4003, employee discrimination, was revised. Again, it added military as a protected class. Policy 4009, drug use, was revised. It changes in the reporting requirements, or the reporting process were made due to changes in federal driving requirements. Policy 5001, admission requirements, was revised as we had new state law that requires schools to ensure that military children get preliminary admission even if they are on IEP. Policy 5004, part-time enrollment, was revised due to a new state law that allows non-public students to participate in public school extracurricular activities if they take 5 credit hours during the semester they participate in the activity. Policy 5201, promotion and retention, was revised The only change is the legal reference or source notation. Policy 5202Z, notification of rights under FERPA, was revised. Multiple changes were made to this notice due to new guidelines from the U.S. Department of Education. Policy 5301, associated activities, was revised. This was updated to include language from the new state statute regarding participation in sports. Policy 5401, equal opportunity, was revised. Again, it adds military as a protected class. Policy 5014, identification of gifted, was revised. It was updated to reflect model policy from our attorneys. Specific details regarding identification are now contained in administrative rule for this. Policy 6400, parent involvement, was revised. It was revised to include 2 years' worth of legislative changes, including new survey notification requirements. Policy 5101, student discipline policy, was revised. There were updates to include dress code requirements in the new statute. Also updated to include sections that were previously contained in administrative rule. Those sections include grounds for short-term suspension, long-term suspension, expulsion, or mandatory reassignment, additional student conduct exceptions and grounds for discipline, academic integrity and law violations. Our attorney also recommended that we rescind some policies. Those policies include Policy 1211, Title IX, procedure for complaints of sexual harassment. This will become an administrative rule per our attorney's recommendation. Policy 6410, combined district and school Title I parent and family engagement policy. The NDE has recommended that schools utilize a template that is more specific rather than having a generic policy, which we will be completing. New policies that are recommended by our attorney include Policy 5507, related to student transportation for foster care students. There has been an issue with this during NDE audits, making a policy a good idea. Policy 6931, related to behavioral intervention and classroom management. This is a very lengthy policy required by new state statutes and modified after a model policy provided by the Nebraska Department of Education. Policy 6113, electronic communication devices and cell phones. This is a new policy. The committee reviewed recommendations from principals, survey data, sample policies from other districts, a summary of the anxious generation, and guidance from Perry Law Firm in order to develop this new state required policy. Given the limited time frame, the committee wanted to stay close to the current practices that have been outlined in our student handbooks for this year. This will allow us to study the topic further and consider the possibility of more comprehensive updates next year. Current updates include a pilot change at the junior high school, as the staff and administration expressed interest in implementing large changes this year. The committee plans to gather ongoing feedback from Principal Bo Vergutz throughout this year. Much smaller changes will be implemented to the senior high, allowing more time for research as well as stakeholder input and discussion. Additional policy changes. 5423, student searches and handheld devices. This is new. The junior and senior high administration have been using handheld wands to conduct searches of students in limited situations with verbal permission from parents. This policy will memorialize when and how this can be done moving forward. Policy 5103, tribal regalia, was rescinded because the same language is now in the dress code section of Policy 5101. Due to our need to finalize these policies in time to get them into staff and student handbooks, their second reading will be held at our second meeting of the month on June 23rd, 2025. At this point, we are not planning to meet again until the fall. (8.3) Government Relations Committee Report. Dr. Goebbels.
I just want to say, whew. For once, I think policy committee is longer than government relations, and I appreciate that. The Government Relations Committee met on May 13th, 2025, to prepare for a Zoom meeting with Congressman Flood to discuss President Trump's budget proposal. Board committee members Brenda Hart, Carhart, Patty Goebbels, and Tom Stanton were present. NPS staff members Eric Wilson, Dr. Jamie Jo Thompson, and Tiffany Settles were also present. Dr. Thompson shared a draft handout with the group that outlined concerns regarding potential Head Start, English language program, migrant education program, and preschool development program grant funding cuts. Local, state, and federal statistics were included regarding the importance of Head Start and the impact that it has on our community. Head Start serves 5,120 children in Nebraska, including 106 children in Norfolk and 60 children at Little Panthers Preschool. If Head Start funding is cut, Norfolk Public Schools would lose $240,000 per year, and we would be forced to cut some of our early childhood services. The committee met with Congressman Flood via Zoom on May 23, 2025. Board members present, Patty Goebbels and Tom Stanton. Norfolk Public staff members, Dr. Jamie Jo Thompson and Melissa Jantz, were also present. Committee members shared their concerns, research, and statistics with the congressman, and the congressman indicated that he supports Head Start. On May 29th, 2025, Senator Deb Fisher attended the Chamber Action Council. Dr. Jamie Jo Thompson shared the same concerns and research with her. Senator Fisher also indicated that she supports Head Start. The Government Relations Committee also communicated frequently over the course of the last month via email regarding state legislation. It was a moving target for the last few weeks. For any of you who are paying attention knew that things just kept changing, if not hourly, daily for sure. Bills and amendments were watched closely, and Dr. Thompson communicated with Senator Dover frequently regarding concerns. At this point, the committee does not plan to meet again until the legislative session starts in January.
As part of that committee, I would like to thank Dr. Thompson and Tiffany Settles for all their work, keeping us organized and going through everything. Like Patty said, it was absolutely a moving target, sometimes multiple times a day, and you guys did a great job making sure that we were informed to exactly what was going on, so I appreciate that. Eight point four. Norfolk Public Schools Foundation Committee Report. I will talk for Brenda. At the Norfolk Public Schools Foundation meeting on May 19th, the board received updates on scholarship awards totaling more than $81,000 for students and $3,000 for teachers. They also celebrated their largest Big Give fundraiser by raising over $4,000 to date to support an inclusive playground at Bel Air Elementary School. The board discussed plans for the upcoming staff campaign and traditions fundraising event. Committee updates included efforts to revise the gift acceptance policy and the approval to establish a temporary committee to help develop policies for the NPS Hall of Fame. Moving on to the consent agenda, 9.1. The minutes from the meeting on May 22nd are attached for review. Personnel contract approvals, Dr. Thompson.
Thank you. I do have one contract for your consideration this evening. That is Teresa Goodrich to serve as a special education co-teacher at Norfolk Senior High. She is currently a special education paraprofessional with the district.
Thank you. 9.3 claims, Mr. Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Attached are the claims. These claims were reviewed earlier by Finance and Facilities Committee. There is one conflict statement this month that will need to be read before voting.
Out of an abundance of caution, I hereby declare a potential conflict of interest and am abstaining from voting on Claim 532 for the month of June in the consent agenda for this meeting. I have signed and filed this written disclosure with the Secretary of the Board. It is my intent to vote on all other remaining items listed on the consent agenda. My vote on the remainder of the consent items should not be taken as a vote one way or the other on the items which I have identified or any of the matters set forth therein or related thereto. And I believe this is for a refund from my daughter's lunch money account, so.
I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
We have a motion from Dr. Goebbels and a second by Cindy. Please vote.
Motion carried 4-0.
Action items, 10.1, discuss, consider, and take action to approve the 2025-2026 classified hourly pay schedule. Mr. Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. We have been struggling to find sped route bus drivers for the last few years in the district. I have presented a pay incentive to encourage pairs to commit to being part of a route bus team. The incentive would tie $3 per hour to a route that would be split between either a 2-person team or a 3-person team. This idea was shared with our current staff and did receive positive response. So I'd like to request that we add the red parts of the word, if Mr. Hughes, if you want to click on that attachment for me. Requesting that we add the red parts of the words for the 25-26 classified hourly pay schedule. It includes an incentive for those also who are willing to get their CDL and drive a CDL bus. This information has been discussed with our Finance and Facilities Committee. I'll answer any questions.
How much is that going to increase our budget by doing that? Is it a significant amount or not?
No, it's a great question. I appreciate that. The extra pay that we will be providing for these route bus drivers, we have some pair positions that we're looking, we would move those to part-time positions, so it would be a net neutral cost to the district.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2025-2026 classified hourly pay schedule.
Second.
Have a motion by Patty and a second by Steve. Is there any other discussion? Please vote.
Motion carried 4-0.
Ten point two, discuss, consider, and take action to approve the 2025-26 classified salary pay scale. Mr. Wilson.
Thank you again, and thank you for that last one. I hope it makes a positive impact on our staffing shortage when it comes to busing. This is another change we're looking. Again, we're just adding a classified salary position. We have had a retirement within our maintenance team and have open maintenance transportation coordinator position currently. As we said, with all open positions, we'd evaluate them and see if there were areas of consolidation to help our budget deficit. My team and I feel we can combine our sped transportation coordinator and our maintenance transportation coordinator position into one position and have a district transportation coordinator that oversees all of our transportation. Combining these positions would save the district approximately $55,000 a year. I'm requesting approval from the board to add this position to our classified salary pay structure for the 25-26 school year. This information was presented and discussed with the Finance and Facilities Committee as well.
How did the maintenance department feel about this? Were you able to discuss it with them, or?
Yeah, I asked for feedback from them. We discussed options, duties that would have to be shared, but we really feel like we could make this work, which would help out the district, and also just have one person in charge of all the responsibility when it comes to that training, tracking of information, and providing the routes for our students.
I'll motion to approve the 2025-2026 classified salary pay scale.
I'll second the motion.
Have a motion by Steve and a second by Patty. Is there any other questions or comment? Please vote.
Motion carried 4-0.
I would like to say and thank the administration for consistently looking for these type of opportunities where we can decrease costs without having to eliminate roles or positions or anything like that. Thank you. 10.3, discuss, consider, and take action to approve the 2025-2026 student meal prices. Mr. Wilson.
Thank you. I think my last one for the night for you. It's a time of year where we set our meal prices for the 25-26 school year. The federal government supply chain allowance was discontinued at the end of the 23-24 school year. This equates to a loss of about $100,000 in our nutrition fund. I have run the numbers for next year with LSI, and if our meal counts remain consistent with what they have been in the past, we need to raise meal prices approximately 30 cents in order to break even next year and make up for that supply chain allowance loss. Reduced meal prices will remain the same or be set at a state-approved price if that changes. Our meal price comparison to this year is listed below. Currently at PK6, a lunch costs $3.25. Next year, that would be $3.55, a 30-cent increase. 7-12 lunches this year were $3.35. They would be $3.65 next year. And breakfast across the district is currently was $1.75. It will be $2.05 next year. As a point of emphasis here, this is an increase for us, but we are still substantially below the state recommended level of $4 for a school lunch.
And you had said in committee, when was the last time we adjusted prices? 2018, 2019?
We did have a slight increase last year, but before last year, we hadn't increased them since before COVID, 2018, I think it was.
Thank you.
But again, with all the prices, with groceries going up, I think that's pretty reasonable.
Do we have a motion?
I'll motion to approve the 2025-2026 student meal prices.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Steve and a second by Patty. Is there any other comment or discussion? Please vote.
Motion carried 4-0.
10.4, discuss, consider, and take action to reaffirm board policies 5008 attendance, 5415 anti-bullying, 5417 school wellness, and 6370 multicultural education. Dr. Thompson.
Thank you. Nebraska state statutes require school boards to review these policies annually. The policy committee reviewed each of these policies and recommends that they are reaffirmed without any changes. There are 2 other policies that are reviewed every year, but they do have slight changes, so they will be discussed in a different section.
I'll move to reaffirm board policies 5008 attendance, 5415 anti-bullying, 5417 school wellness, and 6370 multicultural education.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Patty and a second by Cindy. Any comment or discussion? Please vote.
Motion carried 4-0.
10.5, discuss, consider, and take action to approve the first reading of Board Policy 5423, Student Searches and Handheld Devices. Dr. Thompson.
Thank you. The senior high and junior high principals and SROs have handheld metal detectors that have been used with students who were placed on safety plans. These handheld wands can also be used to detect hidden vapes. Although principals have always obtained parental permission prior to using handheld wands, it would be advantageous for us to have an official policy outlining when and how they can be used. Therefore, we contacted our attorneys and asked for them to draft this policy for your consideration.
I'll make a motion to approve the first reading of Board Policy 5423, student searches and handheld devices.
Second.
Have a motion by Patty and a second by Steve. Questions or comments?
Just a comment, I agree. I think it's really important that we have this in policy.
Please vote.
Motion carried 4-0.
10.6, discuss, consider, and take action to approve the first reading of Board Policy 5507, foster care student transportation. Dr. Thompson.
Audits conducted by the Nebraska Department of Education include requests for information about districts' foster care transportation. The Every Student Succeeds Act only requires that a district has procedures which do not require board approval. However, there has been much confusion regarding this issue. Therefore, our attorney has recommended that we adopt a formal policy on this topic. In most cases, transportation for foster care students is provided by the foster care parents or a school's regular bus routes. However, in some instances, we need to work with DHHS and the foster family to develop a different plan. If the student cannot be transported by the district without incurring additional expenses, then DHHS covers those additional costs.
I'll move to approve the first reading of Board Policy 5507, foster care student transportation.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion by Cindy and a second by Patty. Comments or questions? Please vote.
Motion carried 4-0.
10.7, discuss, consider, and take action to approve the first reading of Board Policy 6113, electronic communication devices and cell phones. Dr. Thompson.
The Policy Committee considered the following sources of information prior to drafting the Electronic Communication Devices Policy, which is required by LB 140. Survey data from students, parents, and teachers, policies and feedback from other schools, information from the Anxious Generation, the draft policy provided by the Perry Law Firm, recommendations from district principals, and other independent research. As stated earlier by Mr. Stanton, the Policy Committee wanted to get more stakeholder feedback and conduct more research before making large-scale changes, such as a full cell phone ban, for instance, at the senior high. Therefore, they are recommending the following for the 25-26 school year. At the elementary level, usage would be allowed at the end of the day once students have exited the building. Otherwise, devices are kept in their book bags and turned off throughout the entire school day. At the middle school, usage would be allowed at the end of the day once students have exited the building. Otherwise, devices would be kept in their lockers and turned off during the entire school day. At the junior high, usage would be allowed before 8 a.m. and after 3:25 p.m. Otherwise, devices would be kept in their lockers and turned off throughout the entire school day. At the senior high, usage would be allowed before and after school, during passing periods, and during lunch. Devices will be silenced and stored in school-issued holders during the entire class period. Consequences for not following cell phone rules are still being finalized. These will be placed in the Code of Conduct, which is contained in the student handbooks. The board will approve those in July.
I'll make a motion to approve the first reading of Board Policy 6113, electronic communication devices and cell phones.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion by Cindy and a second by Patty. Any comments or discussion? I will say that we spent a considerable amount of time discussing the creation of this policy and what we wanted it to look like. And the policy committee as a whole, and I believe the entire board, feels that we do need much more community involvement as we develop this policy further in the future. Much of the feedback from the administrators at the school level were to keep it very close to what we had originally put into the handbooks previously. And then we can report more on the potential consequences for the violation of this policy at the next meetings as those come out. Please vote.
Motion carried 4-0.
10.8, discuss, consider, and take action to approve the first reading of Board Policy 6931, Behavioral Intervention in Classroom Management. Dr. Thompson.
2 years ago, the legislature passed LB 1329, which required each school to adopt a policy on behavioral intervention, behavioral management, classroom management, and removal of a student from a classroom. The legislature then directed the Board of Education to develop a model policy reflecting those requirements, and each school to adopt a policy consistent with or comparable to the model policy by August 1, 2025. This policy is now a state accreditation requirement. Thanks to the hard work that we have been doing implementing MTSS and PBIS across the district, we are able to say that we meet the requirements of this policy and statute, minus some of the additional parent meetings and reporting and documentation that we will need to start this school year.
I make a motion to approve the first reading of Board Policy 6931, Behavioral Intervention and Classroom Management.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Patty and a second by Cindy. Is there any discussion? Please vote.
Motion carried 4-0.
10.9, discuss, consider, and take action to approve the first reading of revised board policies. Dr. Thompson.
Thank you. These are all existing board policies that require some sort of revision due to changes in state statute or federal law. Mr. Stanton highlighted those during the policy committee report, so I will not go back through those to spare you and the audience some time. But I would be happy to answer any questions you might have.
I make a motion to approve the first reading of the revised board policies listed above.
Second.
I have a motion by Patty and a second by Steve. Any other discussion? Please vote.
Motion carried 4-0.
10.10, discuss, consider, and take action to rescind Board Policy 1211, Title IX Procedure for Complaints of Sexual Harassment, 5103, Tribal Regalia, 6410, Combined District and School Title I Parent and Family Engagement Policy. Dr. Thompson.
Thank you. Our attorney has recommended that we rescind Board Policy 1211, Title IX Procedure for Complaints of Sexual Harassment, and replace it with a procedure or administrative rule that can be changed more quickly as Title IX regulations have been undergoing frequent changes. Our attorney has also recommended that we rescind Board Policy 6410, Combined District and School Title I Parent and Family Engagement Policy, because the U.S. Department of Education informed the Nebraska Department of Education that Title I involvement policies need to be more specifically tailored to each school instead of incorporated as a general policy. In return, the Nebraska Department of Education has recommended that schools rescind their Title I involvement policy and instead complete the Title I involvement template that is available on their website, which is much more detailed. We can also rescind Board Policy 5103, Tribal Regalia, because we now have a dress code contained within Board Policy 5101. All of the language that was in Board Policy 5103 regarding tribal regalia has been incorporated into that policy.
I'll make a motion to rescind board policies 1211, Title IX Procedure for Complaints of Sexual Harassment, 5103, Tribal Regalia, 6410, Combined District and School Title I Parent and Family Engagement Policy.
Second.
We have a motion by Patty and a second by Steve. Is there any other discussion? Please vote.
Motion carried 4-0.
Second monthly meeting of the Board of Education is scheduled for Monday, June 23rd, 2025 at noon. The following regular meeting of the Board of Education will be held on Monday, July 14th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. All components of these meetings will be held at the NPS Central Administration Office and will be open to the public unless an executive session is needed in order to protect the interest of the district or the reputation of an individual. And with that, we are adjourned.